The blue-collar reality television genre invaded television, and Axemen was one of those TV shows that gave the viewers an inside look at how logging was done on American soil. Logging has been a successful industry since pre-colonial times, with many people becoming rich through this tough, although sometimes controversial industry. It was a testament to the so-called American dream that if people worked hard, took risks, and remained true to their goals, they would ultimately be rewarded. Showing documentaries about the logging industry may sound inexplicably boring on paper, but when it made its television debut in 2008, viewers were soon hooked, and it ran for 10 seasons. The success of the TV show wasn't without controversies and scandals, with dark secrets that most of its loyal viewers might be shocked to learn about. The History Cable Network found a goldmine when it followed the successful formula of the television programming of the Real Men, Real Danger trend, such as Ice Road Truckers and Deadliest Catch. They were both produced by Original Productions, and after chronicling the world of ice and water, they shifted their focus to the trees and mountains. Axemen featured logging companies as they faced the dangers of cutting down trees and preparing the timber. The first season tracked 4 logging crews based in the Pacific Northwest: J.M. Browning Logging, Gustafson Logging, Pile Logging, and Stump Branch Logging. It showcased the activities of each crew as they used a chainsaw on timber in areas where they were given a permit to do so, amidst the damp and foggy weather. Basically, the show could be summed up in one of the star's descriptions about his experience. "I've had this leg broke, this knee crushed, my ribs broke, my shoulders broke. I've been cut and beat up just about every place in my body." He also said that in their line of work, anyone who posed a risk to the crew was ultimately fired. Axemen aired its first episode on the 9th of March 2008 and ultimately produced 163 episodes during its 10 seasons on History Channel. The show's popularity had expanded globally and was broadcast in several countries, including the UK, Australia, Canada, and Spain. The last episode was aired on the 12th of September 2019. The main backdrop of the TV show Axemen was the coastal forest of Oregon, a remote frontier hardened by the fury of the Pacific Ocean. It was where a rare breed of men gambled with life and limb as they wrangled thousands of pounds of logs, dodged bone-crushing steel, and fought Mother Nature at every turn, risking everything for a piece of the logging fortune. This particular job had been as unforgiving as the terrain itself, and Mother Nature didn't play favorites. It was always either boom or bust, with the big rewards coming with even bigger risks. In this industry, not paying attention to the job or not being scared enough would reflect stupidity and serious consequences. The isolated Oregon wilderness was home to over 1 million acres of green gold. With more than 60 inches or over 150 centimeters of rainfall each year, it's the perfect incubator for growing trees. One of the veteran loggers, Jay Browning, said, "We grow trees by accident. Trees are a renewable resource, and a lot of people don't understand that." The first episode gave the viewers what to expect from the logging crews, as the 1st Brigade of Loggers drove into the heart of some of the deepest and the most remote forests in the Pacific Northwest. For 3 months, these loggers received timber from the unforgiving forest, with time their enemy. As with every job they took, they were aware that millions of dollars worth of timber was on the line. With stiff competition in the logging industry, the crews in the Pacific Northwest placed everything they had on the line each year just to be on top of the game. Some of them were even questioned by the authorities about their business practices, which led to some legal repercussions. Others took risks in battling the unpredictable and extremely dangerous weather conditions to get a huge payday, or at least gain enough to keep their businesses afloat. During its successful 10-season run, the cast and crew of Axemen had their share of dark secrets, controversies, and scandals. In the second season of Axemen, they welcomed 3 more logging companies, one of them S&S Logging. It was owned and managed by Jimmy Smith, who started his Aberdeen, Washington state-based company because he said nobody was doing it. He proudly claimed in the TV show that his crew located and acquired those perfectly preserved timbers laying in the waterways for a quick buck. His son, James Jr., helped him run his underwater logging operation, and their colorful and comical narrative in the series made them fan favorites. However, in March 2009, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources, or DNR, investigated the company after they were featured in Axemen, With the help of the Harbor County Prosecutor, the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the Grays Harbor County Sheriff's Office, a search warrant was executed on S&S Logging. Apparently, the company didn't have a permit to operate, and so more than 50 pieces of wood, including 20 logs, were seized from their warehouse. Harvesting the old-growth logs from the riverbed was considered illegal, and the Commissioner of Public Lands, Peter Goldmark, said that it was unfortunate that History Channel chose to feature this illegal practice on TV. The only time that the DNR gave a permit to remove those logs was during emergencies, in which their presence in the waterways could cause flooding in the area, but never for commercial harvesting. It was ironic that several logging companies that were featured in Axemen didn't earn as much money as they did when they weren't on TV. While being on the show gave them a bit of national fame and captured the hearts of a loyal audience, there were reports that some of those loggers posted their best results when they left the show. Apparently, the logging crews were heavily distracted by the cameras, so their performance wasn't on par compared to the time when they weren't on TV, and the revenue suffered because of this. Logging has been known to have a high mortality rate, considering the dangers that loggers go through when harvesting timber. When it was reported that one of the helicopter pilots, William Bard Colantuono, had an accident while lifting logs during the filming of the TV show, it wasn't shocking given the situation. He was one of the fan favorites during the second and third seasons of the show because of his helicopter antics. Days after the incident was reported, people were stunned when it was revealed that some of its loyal viewers urged the authorities to conduct a safety investigation surrounding his death. The official report of the accident was that the rotor blade of the helicopter malfunctioned, which wasn't anything unusual. However, some alleged that the producers of the show asked the pilot to do some stunts to make it more exciting for the audience, and they may have caused mechanical problems in the helicopter. History Channel started by airing documentaries that educated the viewers on the history of mankind in different parts of the world, most especially the horrors of World War II. When TV producers offered the Axemen series to the original logging crews, they all thought that it would feature the different aspects of the logging industry and its relation to the natural resources preservation, which could help educate people about it, never thinking that the producers were banking on the different personalities of the crews to create tension and drama. Some didn't like what happened, or were surprised when they finally watched the episodes. Some thought they could adjust to the business side of the television industry and just go with the flow, but eventually they quit. Viewers wondered why Gustafsson Logging only appeared in the first season of Axemen. Their company had been harvesting timber since 1974, and it came as a surprise to many that they were never invited back onto the show. When Clay Gustafsson was asked about it, he didn't mince words, saying it was because his logging crew was too professional for a reality TV series. He said that the Gustafsson crew were considered a dry bunch of loggers who only worked hard and never offered anything dramatically entertaining that the producers could use as a highlight for the show. While other logging companies had fiery arguments and were throwing insults, their crew kept everything respectful. Fans of Axemen knew about Jay Browning's criticisms of the TV show. He was the first star to gain popularity through the show by participating in it from its TV premiere up to its fourth season. His no-holds-barred personality captured the hearts of many viewers, and his prosthetic limb added an appeal to his gruff nature that made him one of the most recognized faces in the show. Loyal viewers were shocked when he left. He kept quiet for a while, but eventually said yes to some interviews, revealing that he wasn't happy with the way the History Channel producers were running the show. Jay had reservations about the show from the first season aired, but he somehow learned to adapt to it. However, after staying in the series until 2011, he'd had enough, saying that History Channel set the industry back 50 years. Modern technology and safety guidelines made logging safer, as they reduced fatalities considerably. But the TV show, he claimed, was hell-bent on waiting for something dramatic or tragic to happen, which didn't do any good for the industry. At that time, he hadn't ruled out returning to the show, but said that certain changes must be made first. After being investigated due to his illegal logging activities, one would think that Jimmy Smith would have been more careful not to attract the attention of the authorities. However, he made some fraudulent disability claims that sparked another investigation. Apparently, years before he became part of Axemen, he applied for disability benefits from the government. He was already working, but failed to inform the agency that he no longer needed support. This scheme would have worked with other regular Joes out there, but with him being seen on TV every week, not only locally but internationally, he was bound to get busted. Fans were disappointed when they found out that some family connections presented in the show weren't real. For instance, During the 6th season of the show, Caitlin Sims was introduced as a replacement for Dreadnought's logging crew member Chris Miller, and that she was the cousin of another crew member, Dave Stone. She was called Cuz several times in the show, but they weren't blood-related at all. Some fans believed that it was probably the decision of the producers or writers of the show to give a better narrative when certain people in the show were replaced. This crew was easily remembered due to their unusual practice of firing guns into the water to help them find logs. One of the original cast members of Axeman was reportedly arrested in 2009. Mike Pyle, the owner of Pyle Logging Company, was seen as a typical logger with a gruff personality, but was never perceived to be a bad guy. He was known to have been generous in helping people start their own companies, like he did with his former employee, and Mike was also instrumental in giving other loggers a chance to be featured on the TV show. However, he made the monumental mistake of driving while under the influence of alcohol, which resulted in a vehicular accident that injured his children. He was charged accordingly and with assault, but it was later dropped due to a technicality, as the accident happened on his own property. Almost 200 years ago, mounted men bootstrapped their way into the wilderness and never left. Most of the logging companies featured in the show were run by families, as children followed their parents into the same industry. It was in those mountains that generations of loggers continued the tradition of harvesting and replanting over and over again. For the men who chose to do this work, it would mean wresting the timber from the forest and getting out alive. However, since the show's inception, only one death was connected to logging, and that was the helicopter crash involving William Bard Colantuono. The others were of natural causes, accidents away from work, and illness. Jimmy Smith, from seasons 1 to 4, battled cancer and died in November 2012. Gabe Ryard, seen in seasons 2 to 10, was involved in a vehicular accident and died in September 2016. Stacy Rosen, from the Pyle Logging crew and present in seasons 1, 2, and 10, died in December 2018, but no official reason was given. Initially, it was reported that he died in a logging accident, but later on it was confirmed from a heart attack. Dwayne Deathlefs was seen in season 1, died in 2019, but again, no official cause of death was announced. The TV show Axeman generated much interest in the logging industry, but unfortunately missed the chance to show the viewers the full picture of how these loggers also protected natural resources. Loggers asked the producers why they never showed them replanting trees or protecting the streams in the wilderness, wondering why the show was just focused on the drama and the danger. The producers told them that it was because they wanted people to watch the TV show. Not everyone realized that television was just like every other industry out there. They needed to earn huge money to be competitive. The more a TV series became entertaining to viewers, the more they earned for the network. That's life. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.